Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gary Pine. I'm the Chief Product and Marketing Officer for W2. In these challenging times, I just thought we'd put onto webinar a couple of different slides, a couple of different thoughts from various members of the team in order to address a couple of concerns and issues presented to us over the last couple of weeks or so by our client base, our global client base. So rather than fall, as we found with a lot of our kind of supply network or even our kind of personal contacts, everybody's gone into email, and I thought it's much easier if we jump on a quick webinar and just explain, where we are as a business in terms of allaying any kind of fears of the market or our clients or our partners, just as to where we are. So for the people that do know about us, this is probably going to be second nature. And the key thing that, as you'll see from the third bullet point, the international client base managed from our Newport HQ, and now that's flipped to remotely for obvious reasons. But for the benefit of people that are new to W2, W2 provides real-time solutions that simplify the global regulatory compliance requirements for mobile and digital transactions via a single API connection. Formed in the summer of 2011, we're UK-based, and now ostensibly we service the gaming and payments finance sector. We've got customers, very successful customers in foreign exchange, legal, accountancy, and estate agencies. And with their global coverage, we're 100% cloud and 99.9% uptime. Now we cover in excess of 200 million transactional checks on a monthly basis, and that's growing. Now, through the course of the presentation, you'll see this, the email address at the bottom of the slide, hello@w2globaldata.com. So you can please drop us an email at any stage and we can pick up the questions while we're on the call, or conversely, we'll come back to you. Now, what I've done is also I've enabled the chat session within this particular webinar. So if any questions pop up during the course of my slides or any conversations from the rest of the guys, then please let us know. Now, during the course of the call, I may be, and quite rightly, interrupted by three of my colleagues on the call. We've also set aside some time at the end of the presentation just to hear briefly from them. So Ben Preston Marriott representing product. He's the head of product here at W2. We've got Gareth Booth, who is our client operations manager at W2, who manages our support function, support team. And we've also got Richard Evans, our head of account management. So between the three of them, if I go off piste or if they want to add anything to these slides that I'm going to run through, I've certainly briefed them to say, look, please jump in and add anything, mindful of, like I said, the questions that are going to be raised. So the good news for our clients is that we are a cloud-first business. So as a global technology company with customers all over the world, it came kind of a bit of second nature to become a remote working team in response to COVID-19. So like most other software companies or other businesses in our space, we already had a business continuity plan. Now, business continuity plan shaped on the back of an ISO 27001 and Cyber Essentials certification that's been gathered in the last quite a few months. So it didn't take much for us to enact that. But that's not to say that we don't constantly review, tweak, and change our existing BCP plans. So when it came to COVID-19 and looking at what we do, first and foremost is employee safety is paramount to us. But actually, in terms as we went on and started to look around our network and start to look around and better understand our relationships with our suppliers, and Ben Preston Marriott can touch on this later in the call, which is the responses that we've got back from each of our supply ecosystem and our partners within that ecosystem as to where they're standing currently on COVID-19. So as we, going back a week or so, on the Monday of last week, we chose as a senior management team to enact a test of this BCP plan. So we started working from home actually last Tuesday. And what was meant to be an initial phase of just one day to see how we get on, unfortunately during the course of the day, the situation changed in relation to the pandemic, and from that point really, businesses like us flipped to moving from home quite rapidly. So as you'll see on the screen, a happy and healthy team. Using Microsoft Teams is just one example of the daily and regular interaction we have across the team. But like I said before, because we constantly monitor our BCP, our business continuity plan, one thing that we were keen to do is pick up any lessons learned. So our information security manager, a guy by the name of Alex Lone, tracks and monitors any kind of feedback from the team as to how we can better improve. Now, mindful of that immediate shift into working from home and working remotely, one of the key things is, we forgot to stop our fresh fruit order. So that was a lesson learned. So, and also the likes of our daily yoga sessions were curtailed, our weekly yoga sessions, were curtailed. And even local provision to kind of walk in and just check the office is all right. So there weren't many things that weren't catered for and covered already in our business continuity plan. So which is good and kind of testament to the work and the provisions we already had in place. Now, as I said before, we also looked, because we had a number of client inquiries from us to say, working with the likes of Equifax or Experian or TransUnion or Dow Jones or LexisNexis, what are those guys doing in terms of their business continuity planning? Because ultimately, we leverage and we lean on a number of different parties for data sets or third-party API connections to provide the raft of different services that we do. So Ben can touch on the kind of responses we've got, but we have been as a team very encouraged by the level of response and the comprehensive nature of their responses to us. So we can feel very confident in our ability, onward ability to continue servicing our client with the excellent services they've become used to. So once again, you can see the email at the bottom of the screen if there's any questions as we go along, but also if there's any questions subsequent to the call, please drop me a line or drop the team a line and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Now, one thing that's particularly interesting to me in the product team is that it seems to be a kind of 360-degree view of BCP plans. And what I mean by that is that we as a business have our own BCP, our business continuity plan, and we've looked to our supply network. And then, of course, our clients are looking at us in terms of their continuity plan, is, our service is going to be there. But actually what they've also done, our clients, so they particularly, clients and prospects alike, have said, we want to review our contingency, our failover. So customers that hadn't previously taken the ability to hook up to all 3 credit reference agencies are now more inclined to, because they recognize that it is about contingency planning and making sure that historically, where you were looking at different match rates across different credit reference agencies, you can have a primary, a secondary, a tertiary supplier in. You can have 1, 2, or 3. So we can maximize rates, by different demographics across them. But the kind of clients and prospects alike have reached out to us and said, look, now I want to reach and turn that on. So like I said, it's been an interesting view of the multitude of different ways you can look at business continuity planning, but also the interconnected nature of that business continuity planning to ensure that there are no gaps within that plan. But for us, it's been about business as usual. Now, talking with the kind of leadership team just on a call this morning, and Gareth Booth, who we're going to hear from in a second, made a very good point, because he said, I was thinking kind of incorrectly really at the time. I said, are we taking different kinds of support calls or the different natures of inquiries? And he said, no, it's very much business as usual. So, when you look at the things we'd have to do to prepare for a virus are really no different than we'd already been doing. But the global concerns have given us cause to reconsider our established plans and processes, like any reasonable and kind of well-intentioned business that we would be. And we'll continue, as I said before, we'll continue to confident in our ability to serve the business 24/7, regardless of location. And the health and well-being of our team, as we talked about this morning, is paramount to us. So we're regularly reaching out to each other on calls or kind of meetups. And the benefit of technical platform being fully automated and each process these hundreds of millions of transactions on a regular basis, our extensive login and alerting system keeps us and our DevOps and SecOps team on top of anything that could any kind of issues that could arise. Now, as a reminder, you can continually get in through to our support team through support at W2 Global Data or via your account manager. And in the advent of one of the account managers being unavailable due to illness, you'll get receipt of an out of office notice, therefore giving you alternative contacts. So there's not many stones we haven't left unturned. Once again, I'm giving the reference of all this kind of information. It's hosted on our web, and we're also keeping regular blog updates on the web to ensure that the clients get the very latest of information if anything certainly changes on that front. Now, as a cloud-based business, we've put a fair bit of new infrastructure and web-based platforms, web-based kind of capabilities in place to ensure that we have, as best we possibly can, an industry-leading support operation. Like I said, Gareth will touch on a lot of this stuff shortly. But one thing we would suggest to all of you as clients of W2, that you are subscribed to the W2 status page. So should there be any kind of issue with any of the services, you'll get instant access to kind of the root cause analysis. You'll get incident notifications or issues or how we're managing it directly fed from the team. So please, I suggest go along and make sure that all the relevant team members are subscribed to the service. Once again, you can have a look at the link at the bottom of the screen. We actually use our in-portal messaging capability. So as our clients will attest, you can see us pushing messages directly into the user base via the portal messaging center. In this particular case, I flagged a reminder of our global eKYC service now covering in excess of 160 countries. And only yesterday or the day before yesterday did I put on mention to this particular webinar actually for all of our clients. So for the clients that have registered for today's session, thank you. Testament to the fact that the in-portal messaging capability does do what we needed to do. And like I said, as Gareth will talk briefly on support, so once again, a web-based portal and knowledge base. We have the team to keep the knowledge base equipped and fully up to date with any different kind of queries that come in. So should the nature of the queries, I don't think there's been any calls to change any of the content yet. But like I said, Gareth can touch on that shortly. Once again, the link is at the bottom of the page should you have any questions. Now, one thing that's been very important to us, to the clients, both in clients and prospects alike, is our trade show attendance. So if you look at the likes of Pay 360 as an event, Casino Beats, Betting on Sports USA, and Money 2020, we've had a fair bit of contact in the last couple of weeks or so that said, are you planning to attend, and where are you going to be, and what are your alternative trade show provisions? And as I said to the team this morning, H1, the first half of the year, by and large, has been every event that we were going to attend or we were going to participate in, or even just attend as conference delegates or attendees, has been postponed, quite rightly. So the second half of the year, a lot of the trade shows and exhibitions are planning to kind of continue, but we monitor the situation very closely, and also where on the web our event schedule, I'll be updating as we go. So a lot of the events are moving around or changing the nature, or even going online and going digital. So unfortunately, as the headline says, we won't be grabbing a coffee anytime soon at these events. But what we are trying to do, what we do differently, is the likes of a drop-in or a drive-through meetups via webinar. So we are, a proof point being today's conversation. We're going to spend a lot more time into webinars to ensure that both clients and prospects are kept up to date with the innovations that and the new product developments that Ben Preston Marriott and his product team will be bringing through to market, but also the likes of Rich Evans and his account management team as to how we're adapting or changing the way that we support our customers going through. So these drop-in or drive-through meetups via webinar will be announced over the next couple of weeks or so. So we'll drive, like most businesses, we're going to drive and kind of engagement through a lot of webinars until such times as we can get back on the road to get into trade shows or spend some time and effort speaking to our customers. One thing that's suggested to me the other day is a COVID-19 contingency and disaster recovery planning for compliance lead session. So that might be one of the sessions. We've got plenty of ideas for other sessions based on the feedback from clients or partners that we're going to drive through in the next couple of weeks or so. So over to my over to my colleagues. So just to go a bit of a quick round robin from Ben, from Rich, and from Gareth, that in terms of how we're dealing with the client, how we're dealing with the kind of current climate, and what the team are up to in terms of activity. So Ben, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, thanks, Gary. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is, as you've said, the supplier relationship that we have with our own suppliers. So it's been my job to kind of collate and keep up to date all of our suppliers and partners' business continuity plans. And the response to that has overwhelmingly been positive. All of them have come back and said that they support remote working, and almost all of them have come back and said that they support automation for the processes to put data into our platform. And what that does is really give me and the team confidence that the data supply into our platform is robust and resilient, and it's going to continue uninterrupted throughout this period of disruption, which is a big vote of confidence for us. For closer to home, how the team is kind of dealing with the remote working ourselves. For those of us that work in product and tech, we are already quite remote friendly. We're quite used to doing this. We've got a lot of tools in place that mean things can continue as normal. So it really is pretty much business as usual, apart from the fact that when we say face-to-face time, it usually means via webcam now. So we're continuing kind of daily global scrums with the entire teams. That's all taking place. All the normal agile ceremonies are still in place, and we're gearing up after a very productive and fruitful Q1. We're gearing up to have an equally impactful Q2 in terms of the exciting things that we're looking to deliver for our clients. So all in all, business as usual. I'm happy with the plans that suppliers and partners have got in place in terms of their business continuity. Our own business continuity and remote working strategy is working well and bearing fruits. So I'm excited for Q2.
Thank you very much. Rich, want to say a few words?
Yeah, absolutely. So, key thing for me, as you mentioned, Gary, is that we're continuing business as usual here. The team are all remote working and we're running at full capacity. So there's no, disruption from that point of view. It's just key to point out that we're here to fully support the entire account base during these times, obviously uncertain times. And from me personally, I think, I'd urge any clients who have any reservations at all or have any queries, etc., concerns, just reach out to your account manager or me directly if you'd like to discuss any of that, one-on-one. We have support there, as Gareth will mention in a moment, and we'll talk more about that. But I guess really the changes we've implemented here are to ensure that we can continue to support you effectively during these current times. From a kind of contact point of view, we're keen to continue with this, regularly as we always do. As Gary mentioned, what we're doing is putting these drop-in webinars just to ensure that we can maximise that. We'll also be reaching out to clients directly just to ensure really that our account reviews that we regularly have with clients can continue as normal. Naturally, these will be where we naturally visit you at your premise or have coffee meetings. These will switch to WebExes now where possible. And one note on our regular client days that we tend to have every quarter. We've luckily just had one fairly recently. The next one wouldn't be due for a few months' time, and we'll share more on that over the coming months as we see where we are. But yeah, that was it from me.
Thanks, Rich. And last but not least, Gareth.
Thank you, Gary. So from a client operations perspective, in terms of operating the support team, making sure that we're able to talk to our customers, as Gary alluded to earlier, we have kind of moved straight on, haven't missed a beat, and we're able to continue with all of our support functions as we usually do. Obviously, in these unknown times, that's hopefully a source of comfort to you that if you have any problems with the W2 service or you need to ask a question or change configuration, all of our team are online. We catch up daily to make sure that everyone is able to work and everyone has access to everything they need. And hopefully you won't miss a beat. We won't see anything different about the way that we deal with your support cases. In terms of the support portal itself, as Gary said, we urge customers to use the knowledge base where possible, hopefully so that you can help yourselves initially. If you're unable to find an answer through that knowledge base, then of course the support team is there to answer any of your questions. As he also mentioned, we haven't noticed any particular uptick in terms of people working remotely or anyone having issues related to the COVID-19 outbreak at the moment. We are obviously monitoring that, and if anything changes, then we may have to adapt the way we work. But we're fully capable and aware and able to make those changes if we need to. Another thing that I was going to mention is related to our use of Azure as our hosting platform. So obviously Microsoft have been issuing some commentary about resources and the fact that a lot more people are trying to use those resources now. Our DevOps team are constantly monitoring. We have no concerns about capacity and believe that everything is geo-redundant. So all of our services should be online and we'll maintain capacity for the duration.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Gareth. No, I don't see any questions coming in on the chat. I don't see any issues being raised. So unless there's any questions from anyone else or any of the guys from Ben, Rich, or Gareth, then I think we'll call it a day shortly. Like I said before, please, you can drop me a line or drop Gareth a line in the support team, or even just use the hello@w2globaldata.com email address to ensure that your queries are answered straight away. Like I said, the key message for today is business as usual for us. We're a cloud-based business, but we're here 24/7 to answer your calls or your queries should you need us. Okay, thank you very much for your time and have a good day.